We're back with an update on the two men who brought explosives to a protest outside of New York City's mayoral mansion that was in early March. The two men accused say they were inspired by the Islamic State. On that day, there were protesters and counter protesters when an explosive device was thrown at a group of men. You're watching that here. One of those men goes by the name The Midnight, and he's here with us today. So good to have you on the show to tell your story and to tell us about life under the mayor of New York. Good to have you here with us. Take us back to that day. We ran that story on the news. Of course, we had it here on air and online. I met you. You have been very vocal about how scary that day was for you and your group of friends. So take us back. Tell us what happened that day.
Well, it's pretty incredible that the differential, a clear differential between both sides is that, obviously we don't agree politically. But what I find on the conservative movement and the movement of the Republican Party is that, we don't want to take anybody's lives. We just don't agree with what they say. And, so I got a call from, Jake Lang's team and, hey, Midnight, you're a big voice here in New York against Zohran Mamdani. We're doing this march over to Gracie Mansion, yada, yada, yada. Can you come in? You will document it and we'll expose what these people are about. At that point, I was just like, oh, yeah, this is a great opportunity, to really, share my message. And we started this march to Gracie Mansion, and all of a sudden, this group of Antifa come out, and we're surrounded by police officers, and we're doing this march. And where you see this video is that was the final where we got behind this barricade where Antifa couldn't come in, they couldn't come out. We had police surrounding us, and we are just peacefully protesting against the Nation of Islam. And they're screaming at us. We're peacefully saying things back to them, and all of a sudden you hear this rhetoric coming out in the crowd, and their famous call before they do something, Allahu Allahu Akbar, and boom, this thing gets thrown at us. You can see me in the back there with the red hat, and Jake Lang's in the middle, and I didn't understand at that point what it really was. More than that, it's too late. Like I looked at it. And I'm like, and everybody's just started running. I heard, Midnight, get out of there. And I'm live. I got like 23,000 people on my live. And I looked down and I was like, oh my God, this is going to hurt. And by the good grace of God, it was smoking. The thing was sizzling. And by the good grace of God, that thing did not ignite. Because if it did, I don't think that I would be here today to be having this beautiful interview with you.
Absolutely. And we're so glad that it didn't go off as it was planned to do by this terrorist. That's what they're investigating it as today, as an act of terrorism, because that's what it was. You mentioned that you were there with Jake Lang. He spoke afterwards about how scary the situation is. Let's take a quick listen to what he had to say.
Distance you are to me, about 3 feet in front of me, and I saw the fuse. It was smoking, and I thought my life was over right then and there. And by God's grace, I immediately acknowledged the Lord's hand in protecting me and protecting all my right-wing Crusader brothers, Christian brothers that were with me. And immediately I cried out and called upon God for His saving grace. And we knew exactly. I didn't see the guy who threw it, but I knew exactly who threw it. It was a Muslim, and they want to kill us because I'm a Christian and I speak my mind in this country. New York was built by white Christian men. Okay, and now it is being taken over and destroyed by Muslims and socialists. And so we need to defend our country.
Several things to take away from what he just said there. First, this could have been a lot worse. None of you could have been here today to tell your story.
We talked to some of the authorities. They said there was enough shrapnel in that glass jar that would have removed me, Jake Lang. You saw a lot of those officers in blue suits. They most likely either very, very hurt or they would have been gone. They said there was more shrapnel in that weapon than what happened back in the Boston Marathon when they were attacked over there in their marathon back years ago. So thank God again that this thing did not detonate. And my son, I was talking to my boy, he's 16 years old. He's looking at me. He goes, Dad, everybody's running. He goes, you have no survival skills. You just sit there and watch it happen. And
You were in shock. Yeah. Yes. That's kind of how I was in Butler when I was watching President Trump and then, shots rang out. You go into a shock, you're not expecting that. And then your body just and your mind just freezes up. But yes, but
Yeah.
I believe that, deep down, you look like the type of guy that has great survival skills. So I'm glad you're here. Glad that you're here to tell about your story. What a scary situation there. But Jake also mentioned about what New York was founded on. And here we are, under this communist dictator, Mamdani. What is it like there now? How did we get here?
Mamdani is, everyone calls him stupid. He's an idiot. Da, da, da. I got to tell you, he's a very, very intelligent, smart human being. And he knows exactly what he's doing and the mission that why he's there. This is a very simple playbook. This is to take over the United States of America, starting with the number one city, the biggest city, which is in New York. And we were at CPAC together, and Steve Bannon asked me, he brought me into the war room, and he asked a simple question, which I was able to answer it, which he asked it to the crowd: who is the biggest threat to the United States of America? The country of Iran or Zohran Mamdani? And by far, it was overwhelming. The answer was Zohran Mamdani is the number one threat to the United States of America. At the end of the day, they hide it behind a religion. They're very smart. Islam is very smart. There's no difference between Islam and an MS-13 gang member or a Trinidad Agua out of Venezuela or cartels coming out of Mexico. The difference between Islam and them is Islam, they were very intelligent to be able to take advantage of the protection of the Constitution of the United States of America, and they called it a religion. Because we protect all freedom of religion here, but this is not a religion. This is a very evil ideology. This is one of the longest survival of gangs that I've seen, going back thousands and thousands of years ago, and they need to be eradicated. And I've been asking for the president immediately. He needs to ban Sharia law immediately from the United States of America, shut down these mosques, and put this to an end finally. Because this is not a war of the United States against Iran. This is a war of the world against Islam.
You're absolutely right. Is there anything you're seeing there in New York already from the mayor that is, raising alarming concerns that this is just the beginning of a nightmare for New York? Because, like you mentioned, this is the biggest city, and, New York kind of sets an example for the rest of the larger cities in the country. And so if we're seeing it here, chances are we may see it trickle down to other cities. We hope that's not the case. We hope this is a one-time deal. The people of New York will wake up and say, maybe this isn't what we wanted for our city. But what are you seeing now that's raising some red flags straight out of the gates with him?
Oh, I can tell you, the only thing that matters anything to this mayor is Sharia law. Their aspiration is to get Sharia law into every household to replace the Constitution of the United States of America. On day one, on the very day one when he took office, he tore up Executive Order 61, okay, which was the protection of all synagogues in New York City. He basically told the whole entire Jewish community basically that you're on your own and you're not getting any help from the NYPD. Because with the rise of anti-Semitism, there was always NYPD officers at the major synagogues. And then within a few weeks later, you saw somebody attack one of the major hubs and one of the major synagogues there in Brooklyn. You saw the mayor turn his back on NYPD officers when a mob of kids over, I think it was Bryant Park or Washington Square, wherever it was, throwing ice blocks, at the officers. And he asked for mental health issues when a man was yielding a knife at officers. They had to protect themselves. They put bullets in this person's legs. He said the officers overreacted in Queens. And then what did he do? He went to go visit the guy that attacked the officers in the hospital. So then I did a little more research. Why is Zohran Mamdani so interested in this guy? Well, I'll find out that he's from Bangladesh and he's a Muslim. So you know, and then and then Ramadan ends, and what does he do to go break his bread? He goes to the most notorious prison, Rikers Island, to break bread with the most notorious criminals, men that compromised women, compromised children, took people's lives, robbed, steals names, and says we're going to figure out how to shut this prison down, get social workers, and implement you guys back into society to give you a second lease on life. You know, so this guy, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, and I can't even fathom what it's like to be an NYPD officer, knowing that you don't have the support. You know, you're trying to go after the bad guys. The mayor supports the bad guys before he supports you. How do you do your job? How do you even want to go into work every day to protect the city that you love, knowing that you're not getting the support that you need? This goes back to the left loves the bad instead of the good. And you just gave some great examples right there, proof of this is what's happening in New York City. The bad is now the good and who they praise instead of the other way around.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, you know. And I started campaigning over here in the Northeast because November the midterms are coming up, and it doesn't look good right now. But we've got all the way to November, so we've got to wake up America. And the current governor over here in New York is Kathy Hochul. She's tied to the hip to Zohran Mamdani. So in November, a vote for Kathy Hochul is a vote for Zohran Mamdani. And the one that's running up against her, his name is Bruce Blakeman. This guy is absolutely incredible. He's been running Nassau County over here in New York for 4 years now. Nassau County is not only the safest county in New York, it's the #1 safest county in the whole entire country. So I will ask everybody in the Northeast, everybody in New York, would you want someone as a governor over the safest county, or supporting a mayor that allows IED bombs thrown at peaceful protesters, doesn't denounce them, but the first thing he comes out and calls us white supremacists? You
Of
know,
course.
this guy has he's on a mission, and his mission is to absolutely destroy New York, and make it disgusting and dirty for all the good people to leave, so he can have an Islamic State over here in the Big Apple.
Unbelievable. We only have a couple of minutes left. I want to ask you too about the grocery stores. I've been reading articles. I want to hear firsthand from you. Are you seeing, there's free grocery stores where people can get in and walk in and get free food? Are those opening yet? What are you seeing around the city?
No, that came and went in about over a weekend. It was,
Didn't last
and it was,
long, did it?
it didn't last long. There's nothing free here. Everything based on his campaign is a lie. It's called Takida. When you talk about the Nation of Islam and Sharia law, you can lie in the name to protect your religion. There is no free busing. There is no free housing. There is no free childcare. The only free childcare that's going to get is the government employees, and those government employees are going to get them free. Guess who's paying for it? Is the regular taxpayers going to pay for the government employees? This is all a ploy. This is all a plan. Again, Buffalo needs to wake up. Syracuse needs to wake up. Rochester, Albany, Oneonta, Long Island, Suffolk County, Nassau County. A vote for Kathy Hochul is a vote for Zohran Mamdani, Bruce Blakeman. And not that I'm on the payroll, but I probably should be. So I know that I love this country so much. I love the city so much that if you don't get Bruce Blakeman in there in November, we are finished. We are done. It is over.
It's not going to be over because we have good patriots like you, fighters like you. They are boots on the ground in New York, fighting for the state and the country. Keep putting up the good fight. I know people from all over the country are rooting you on, cheering you on. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't give up. You have a huge following on social media, always putting out great posts with updates. How can people follow you?
You can go to find me on Instagram. It's the Midnight 123 on Instagram. On TikTok, it's I am the Midnight. And then on Facebook, which we love Mark Zuckerberg right now and Meta because they have not violated us once.
Right now.
So thank you so much. Right, as of now, but it's called Shawn Michael on Facebook. SHAWN Michael, MICHAEL.
Well, I'm so glad that you're okay. You lived to tell about what happened during the protests back in early March, along with all of your patriotic, good American friends, and continue fighting for New York. It's going to take a fight, but that's what we do. And we're going to sometimes lose sleep because we're fighting so hard. But I'm very appreciative for people like you. So thank you for joining us today. Keep us posted on what's going on there in New York.
You got it, Midnight. I'm out. 1, 2, 3. Woo!